We're going to continue with our presentations. Brazil. I said at the beginning that Brazil is one country that has leveraged this model, and Brazil, when it comes to oil and gas, for instance, Brazil is said to be managing a robust local content policy. Brazil is said to be managing a robust local content policy, and in the triple helix model, when I learn of what the academia is doing with the industry in Brazil, I now know that triple helix would have played no small measure in bringing that to fruition. So how has it been operationalized in Brazil, and what can we learn from it is our next spotlight that we're looking at now. And bringing us that information is a professional who started her career with a degree in economics and an MBA in controlling and finance. She had planned to work on the financial sector, but after 1 year working for a bank, she decided to return to the university to engage in a master's degree course, which focused on innovation. Her supervisor hired her to work in a project of technology park that the university was planning. She carried her master and PhD research with a focus on the issues she found when working at the technology park. The postdoctor carried at Citrim was also focused on entrepreneurial ecosystems builders, particularly business incubators, technology parks, accelerators, living labs, etc. And when you listen to the president, PK, you would see that he touched base with some of these things that our next speaker is an expert in and has practiced in her home country. How have they operationalized it, and what can we learn from it? I yield it now to you, Dr. Aline Fig-Lioli. Dr. Aline?
Yes.
Good morning. Is it good afternoon where you are?
Good morning. I'm in the UK right now.
Oh, you're in the UK, so you're morning.
Yes.
You're very much morning. All
Yes.
right. So share with us the success stories in Brazil and the lessons learned so far.
And first of all, I'd like to thank God for the invite. And it's a pleasure to be here with you and have the chance to talk a little in 15 minutes about the triple helix operationalization in Brazil. I hope you can see my screen. Can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, okay,
Doctor. Perfect.
Yeah, we can see.
So yes, I'm a senior research fellow at Centrim, that is the Center for Change Entrepreneurship and Innovation Management of the University of Brighton. And before I have a long career in Brazil, I worked for technology parks. I did consultants for technology parks, incubators, and I had the pleasure to work for a government as well. So I have been working through to universities, to governments, and to private companies as well. So I'm a different animal in this type of belonging to different types of organizations. And Professor Márcio Miranda, that is the current president of the Brazilian chapter, asked me to present today. So then so let's start with showing a bit about what we are doing. So just to show where we are, here is Brazil, and you know that because we're now winning the World Cup. Okay, let's mention it just after we finish, but we have very nice matches until now. So Brazil, it's has an interesting story related to the triple helix engagement. It started in 1987 with the first technology parks and incubators being implemented in Brazil, and with the government fostering most of them. Just for you to have a first glimpse at the Brazil economy, we are a small country with 8.5 million square kilometers, with a population of more than 200 million people. That puts us in this as the 7th country in the world in terms of population. A GDP of around 3.6 trillion. That puts us in the 9th position around the world, and the GDP per capita, that it's around $17,000. That puts us in the 88th position in the world. So there is something that we have to work on, and innovation, technology development is one of the strategies that we are assuming to do it, that we are betting on it in order to close the gap between the GDP and the GDP per capita. So Brazilian Triple Helix chapter, as I told you before, the first initiatives goes back to 1986, 1987, and the research around it, that is one of the most important things that the Triple Helix promoted to create knowledge around the Triple Helix engagements. It started in the Federal Fluminense University that is in Rio in Brazil, and it has been diffused by a research center led by Professor Marcelo Amaral that has been working with the Triple Helix framework since 1999, and it starts with the organization of the workshop of the Triple Helix in Rio in 1999, and after it hosted the International Triple Helix Conference in the 2000s. And since then, this group has been promoting publications, promoting research, and in 2015, it has oriented its research focus to innovation environments, like incubators and technology parks. There is a link for its blog that you can see now, and there you will find the publications and the most recent events that they are disseminating. It started with the Triple Helix group in Brazil, and currently it is hosted by the University of São Paulo. That is where I did my PhD, my master's degree, and also worked in the technology park. So, numbers about the university. It is one of the best universities in Latin America. We have more than 95,000 students, which of them around 60,000 are undergraduates, 30,000 postgraduates, and we have around 5,383 academic staff. As most of, as all the public universities in Brazil, as University of São Paulo is a public university, as most of the public universities, we have an innovation agency that is extremely important to change the culture of these universities. And then we have the Agência USP de Inovação that is responsible for all the technology transfer policies of the university and supports research with technology transfer and all the engagements with the society. So then with the innovation agency, this relation with the university, governments and companies were facilitated. And this type of innovation agency was actually born because there was an innovation law in Brazil. So the importance of the government fostering or supporting with the right legislation that allows universities to work with companies is one of the lessons learned, a very important one, and I will come back to it later. The University of São Paulo has, in partnership with the Institute of Nuclear Energy, it created CIETEC, that is the largest incubator for technology-based companies in Latin America. They are with around more than 100 companies now, and more than 170 companies were graduated from CIETEC. It shows the strength of innovation that is fostered by a strong university as well. And currently, one of the most important events promoted in the Triple Helix chapter is the SciBiz, that is Science Meets Business. And Science Meets Business is has its mission to integrate researchers, entrepreneurs, and investors, accelerating and scaling the process of transforming invention into innovation. So, of course, we know that most of the universities all around the world, it's still the culture of to hold technology, hold knowledge it is still a problem in some of them. And this in this type of events helps to unpack what is inside the university, what is has the potential to be commercialized or to be developed in partnership. So then it aims to attract to the university executives, startups, scientists, investors, students, and governments, where they will share knowledge and create solutions to generate business opportunities, focusing on real challenges of the society and the market. But in order to do that, they have several dimensions in this conference. The first one is the conference itself, where we can send our papers, academic papers, our research papers about this relation on the triple helix relation. And the second dimension of these conferences are the challenges. So they promote with a sponsor. The sponsor last year was TIM, that is a telecom company. This company presents challenges that startups can address, and these challenges are worked throughout the event. Worked out. So we have the startups fair, where startups from the whole Brazil can apply to be there, a technology showroom as well to showcase what startups in Brazil has been doing, as well as the researchers in the university has been doing, and awards to scientists and to companies around their innovation projects. So it's a different type of event where we really put together all these triple helix agents, and it hosted in 2021 the Triple Helix International Conference. So events like that united the strong universities with startups, investments, and government. Of course, they create a different type of environment that actually allows triple helix to happen. And just so I'd like to invite you for the SciBiz Conference 2023. The website is here. It will be launched soon, the 2023 version, and hope to have you in São Paulo with us. And of course, this event and this fostering publications through these events is extremely important, because as Piquet explained, it creates research on the triple helix. We're using triple helix framework, looking at the different agents, how the different agents behave, which are the components of these actors that are actually in the ecosystem, what is missing in the ecosystem. So all these discussions are incredibly fruitful for the movement. But at the same time, I'd like to show you not just the academic part of it in Brazil, as I have some experience there. I'd like to show what has also happening in terms of initiatives that combines industry, government, and universities. So if you look at this map, we can see the map in the left is about technology parks and the right is incubators. So just some numbers around it. We have in Brazil nowadays 57 technology parks in operation that generates around 33,000 jobs with around 2,300 companies. So it shows the strength of promoting triple helix initiatives. Most of these parks are inside universities. They are supported by local authorities, and some of them received money from the government, the federal government. So the full set of triple helix actors are in action. And what about incubators? In Brazil, we have a long story of establishing business incubators. Again, most of them are related to universities or local governments. We have around 360 business incubators, 57 accelerators. They generate more than 54,000 jobs and 75,000 jobs from the graduated companies. After a company spend 2-3 years in the incubator, they leave the incubator, they are called graduated companies, and they are generating now around 375,000 jobs. It's interesting. It's an interesting number considering that these incubators are running since the late 80s, but it was strengthened. The number grew a lot in the 2000s. I would like to show two examples because there's one that deals with the agro business and another one with oil and gas. One of the examples is Tupera Technology Park. That is, the buildings are inside the area of the University of São Paulo, in the countryside, in a city called Ribeirão Preto. And it is a partnership. It's very interesting partnership where the local government, the city, has the management of the park, and the state of São Paulo also provided resources to put it in place. So what we found there, we found companies from IT, health, chemistry, biotech, pharmaceutical companies, automation, cosmetics, and agro-technology. Some of them, because the park is in the area of the university, some of them, they come from the university itself, researchers from the university, students from the university, open their companies there. And why they go there? Because, of course, there's a benefit to be close to the university. There is a tax incentive. Piquet just mentioned the importance of tax incentives. So they have tax incentives, and also the city, the municipality provides tax incentives for the companies to be there. But it's not all. Although the tax and although to be in the park, it's important, you have all the services that the parks provides. And the park provides services to promote the companies, to promote entrepreneurship, to foster the innovation management process in these companies. So it is a full package of body, buildings, and soul. That is the service that they receive. Another important initiative in Brazil, linked now to oil and gas, is the Technology Park of the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, where we have big companies. The park, it's in an island, and in this island we have big companies, with some of them does research around oil and gas equipment, such as pipes and other types of products that that is required by the industry. And in the same place where we have these big companies, we have labs that provides services to them. So we have two of them here. That is the Laboratory for Ocean Technology that belongs to the university, belongs to COPE, that is one unity of research of the university, that deals with the simulation of the ocean environment. And NEO, that performs studies and tests and flexible lines for the exploration of oil and gas in deep waters. So it's a mix of the university with its own competences, putting in place labs that has connection with the industry, and the industry being attracted to be in this area and to work together with the university. So the role of the government in Brazil, I just put some of the most important features of it, and I thought I think that this is one summary of what we find in Brazil. All the ecosystem was put in place, it's able to work because you have the right foundations. And of course, it can be improved. Everything can be improved. But the Brazilian innovation law, the first one that I put here, it allowed the universities to work with companies and to invest with companies and open up to receive companies in their own buildings and labs. So this was extremely important. And it also required universities to have innovation offices, technology transfer offices. The second and the third line here, informatics law and law of the good law domain, it's a tax incentive law that allows companies to use the investment on innovation, research and development to have a deduction in their tax. So it also promotes innovation, of course, because the risk of innovation is diminished. And we have here the Banco Nacional de Desenvolvimento Econômico Social, that is the National Bank of Development, that has also programs to support innovation in big and also in small companies. So then this is about credit financing the companies. CNPq, CAPES, there is the two main organizations that provides scholarships in Brazil and that provides money to research. So then without this money from research, there's no way of having critical mass that can go to research and can be translated into solutions to the society. So CNPq and CAPES are extremely important for the whole ecosystem, as well as the foundations, CONFAP, that is the National Council of the Foundations, the state foundations that support research. So then not just the federal government, but the state government has a very important role in terms of supporting research and also provide money to technology parks to be in place and to have the studies carried out, feasibility studies of technology parks and incubators, and also to provide resources for startups as well. Recently, you have the foundations providing grants for startups, and it has been in the latest years a very important source of resources as seed money from these companies. And one of the most important agencies in Brazil, for sure, related to the innovation and that supports the entire ecosystem, it's FINEP. Unfortunately, this graphic is in Portuguese, but here we can see the stages of development of a company from startup, with small, medium, large, and corporate. And here we can see all the support, then grants in the light green, and we have investment in this a bit more stronger green, and credit in the dark green. So we can see that FINEP has provided support in terms of resources, financial resources, for the whole set of the stages of business development. So it's extremely important for a company to find the right resource, it's grants, credit, or investment for a different phase of its development, and all related to innovation. So here we can see the right regulation, you can see the creation of a critical mass through CNPq, CAPES, and CONFAP, and funds as well to support the entire ecosystem. So then I think that in a nutshell, this is a very, very brief summary of what the chapter is doing in Brazil, hosted by the University of São Paulo, and with our main event, SciBiz, in place, and what the initiatives that I selected here to highlight to you in the importance of the government supporting the entire ecosystem. We have a lot to move forward in all these initiatives, but of course, I think that we have been doing a lot as well. So thank you for allowing me to share a bit with you, and there's much more to discuss.
Thank you very much, Dr. Figlioli. Thank you. That's quite incisive presentation on what you are doing in Brazil with the triple helix model. It's also important that to note that you began the journey even way before the International Association came together, to advance the cause globally. So thank you for all those very pioneering efforts people did out there in Brazil. And then the parks, quite inspiring. You have lots of those parks. But what I find unique is in each of those parks, you're partnering with a particular university. I mean, that makes the research efforts quite easy to move straight into business ideas and, of course, ultimately to the industry and the economy for you. So thank you. I'm sure if we're in a live audience now, we'll be giving you a resounding applause for such incisive contributions.